All right, we can't wait, can we, for September? There's so much to look forward to, and there is for Carlton and the Giants, who finished off the season with what turned out to be a really comfortable win from the Giants. It started off with the drama. The expectations were high for Charlie Curnow. He took 15 minutes to reclaim the Coleman after Taylor Walker rudely kicked 9 last night to be in front for a little while. He is confirming, as we said, during the call, today, the day that we said farewell to Buddy. Charlie is box office, isn't it? And he showed that early, he soaked it in, the crowd were up and about. The Carlton fans arrived happy. They probably didn't, in fact, a lot of them left early, it has to be honest, which was a little bit disappointing, I thought, as the game went on. But their place has been claimed in 5th. But the story is really around the Giants, which we'll get to in a moment, because I mentioned earlier about injuries and incidents, and it was the incident just before half-time which is going to be talked about. Toby Green was the alleged victim this time, even though he put the tackle on first. It was what happened afterwards that has claimed a fair bit of attention with Jacob Wiedering.
I always go back to people like Jared Waitley in these instances, and they say, what are you doing with your hands in there? Why are your hands going for the eye sockets? And it may be fleeting, it may be just a moment in time, but why are they attacking there? It's a bad look. And if the roles were reversed, we'd be up in arms. Toby's done it again. Give him a couple of weeks. Toby never learns. Toby this, Toby that. Well, it's the flip side. So what do they do now with Jacob Wiedering, who's a relative clean skin?
Yep.
You know, we know that he's a ball player and he's a top liner of the comp. This is a distraction they don't need. I don't know whether it costs him or not, Joey. I really don't know where I sit on this, whether it's just a reprimand, whether it's nothing, whether it's more significant than that.
Yeah, I can't see him missing a week for that. I know when it's a still shot and you can see the hand in the face, it looks really bad. But when you see it in context, I think it's for a fleeting moment that he gets his hand in the wrong spot. He moves it pretty quick. I'm okay with a fine. You're right. The hand shouldn't go anywhere near the eyes, and you've got to be so careful. But I can't see a player missing a game for this. I agree it'd be much more of an uproar if it was the other way around than it was Toby Green because of his past. And I suppose we do give Jacob Wiedering a bit more of a leeway, saying, well, that's not in his character. We haven't seen anything like that before. I know it doesn't look good, but I'd be staggered if he gets a week for that.
Now, he did leave with the blood rule, with blood under his eye, but it was the other eye, just to add a little bit more confusion to it. So, of course, post-game on the coverage, Sarah went to Toby Green and asked him the question. I'm not sure exactly helped Jacob Wiedering's case.
There was an incident just before half-time involving yourself and Jacob Wiedering, a bit of facial contact. Can you tell us what went on?
I don't know. You might be in trouble. I think I got in trouble for that, so we'll see how he goes.
He's right.
Always cheeky. All right, what about the Giants? I mean, start of the year, Adam Kingsley, who's done such a great job with them this year in his first year, talked about the return of the Orange Tsunami, but it's not all one way, the way they play. That's what catches our eye, but they've brought a terrific, complete game, haven't they?
It's complete the other way. I think for me, they are the hardest two-way running team in the competition. They've shown this all year, and a lot of it is off the back of their half-forwards, how much work they put in to get up the ground and then get back and get involved in their offence. And we saw it today, the importance. I mean, it's been one of the recruits of the year, Toby Bedford, and the impact that he's made at the bargain price that they got him for. But you can just see the work rate, not just of the half-forwards, but their midfielders all year. They have got elite runners, and they use it. You can see Kelly in this contest, but it's Bedford again that we want to highlight, the work rate. Look at him just want it more and run harder to get past not only his own teammates, but obviously the Blues defenders. And their skills stood out too. They've got a precise kicking. I mean, they've got some high-end elite players. And as the game wore on, they just outworked and outran the Blues, didn't they, Kingy? It was obvious. Carlton came for the fight early. You touched on it, Hutto. They were up and about and energetic with the crowd. But as the game wore on, and this has been a strength now of GWS, their fourth quarters, and the later the game goes, the harder they run, and teams can't go with them.
It was a great watch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredibly difficult to stop. And this is the thing that Adam Kingsley guaranteed. At about round 7 or 8, he said, no, we're going to get our tsunami back. And everyone's thinking, oh, you're just going. I think they turned 3 and 7 at about round 10.
Yeah, 3 wins and 7 losses.
Yeah, and then just got rolling after that. And we saw this beautiful Tsunami Mark II. It is different. It's more by foot than hand. It's aggressive, and I'll tell you what, it's going to challenge all teams in the next 4 weeks. And
they're the most travelled team in the competition. Even some of their home games are in Canberra. They have played everywhere, man, and their record is excellent.
And they've won at a lot of venues too. They've won at 9 or 10 different venues, so they're not going to fear. They're not going to fear going to the MCG most likely, and they'll give themselves a shot. I think they are chock full of confidence at the moment. The way they are playing, their defence is underrated. Their elite leaders are all playing really well, and they've got a forward line that's functioning.
So no Cripps and no Doherty today. Carlton fans, I said a few of them left early. Should they be worried with what they saw today, or after 9 wins and with essentially no movement on the ladder possible, is it to be expected?
Yeah, so we've got to be careful not to go too far with what you read into. But I think when you've got your defensive model set, there's not a lot really changed with that. So I'm probably concerned a little bit with what I saw with their defensive grid today and their defensive work behind the ball, because it looked confused. Now, this can be because of a lack of effort or just an absolute buy into the game, but in a good spot there. Basically a key anchor at the back, 3 pairs in front, in a really good spot. So you'd expect that Sardi would just roll back with the aggressive corridor runner there on his right, but he goes in. And as soon as he goes in, Newman says, well, I'm coming up as well. And they leave the easiest of marks out the back. They took 14 marks inside 50 today, the Giants, and that's not normally a strength area of theirs. So I'm thinking, OK, that's just a small problem. It'll iron itself out. At centre bounce, they lost their way with responsibility on who to cover. And just look here, they all go the footy and they just leave the Giants out goal side. So Fisher, who I thought had a really poor day across half-back, he rolls up, he gets too aggressive to cover the ruckman, and then all of a sudden, look what happens behind the ball. You're all at sea. So they concede 105 points today, the Carlton side, which is the most since round 8. It's a bad time to look like this.
It's been publicly the hallmark of Michael Voss, hasn't it?
And this to me highlights exactly where their heads were at. So this is a live ball. Hit the wing, then McGovern says, oh, I'll probably just do my shoelace up now because Brent Daniels is not going to get the ball. It's not as if he's having a day out at all. And Toby Bedford, well, you know, Sardi can cover both of them. It's really poor. I mean, to just leave your back 6 like this, and maybe it's just a reflection of a day that didn't mean a lot for the ladder. So I don't want to go too hard, but it's just a bad day to have a game like this when the big games are... They're all cutthroat for Carlton now. There's no second chance saloon. This is it. So... It's a watch from here in.
I agree watching you. Zach Fisher looked vulnerable as a half-back. I know he's been great getting a lot of ball and he's skilled.
Can't blame him there.
But all of a sudden, come finals time, you were going to get exposed. Your vulnerabilities get exposed in finals. It was one of Simon Goodwin's great quotes in last year's finals series. And I'm not sure he's got the balance right between his attack and defence, and it puts everyone else out. And they can be a little bit aggressive, but they have tightened that up and they've played together a lot. And then Fisher's come in the last sort of 4 to 5 weeks.
He
did show some vision.
So they could go back to Boyd or they could put Doherty back in defence.
That's right. They've got some other options.
The other one is Mackay. He didn't look comfortable in the centre bounce ruck. So I don't know.
I don't blame him, by the way.
Neither do I.
It's not a great role.
That example, that clip where he just went in the ruck and then just wandered off and left Briggs out the back.
Do they go back to Big Pitter for the final?
Oh, they've got some decisions.
I think when clearances are a weapon, your stoppage weapon is what you can win the flag with. You have to service that first. And then maybe you've got to sacrifice a runner to provide first opportunity for Cripps and those guys at ground level at clearance, if that's the way you're going to win the game, which I think that's Carlton's strength area.
Michael Voss just can't waste the opportunity to use that to make sure to sharpen them up for the finals because they have been so good. They don't want to undo all their hard work.